Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl here, and I am here to do a really quick reaction, not a review, of the TV show The Act on Hulu. The Act stars Patricia Arquette and Joey King. Everybody knows Patricia Arquette. She just got done starring in Escape from Dannemora, where she was amazing in that, and she was also amazing in this. This reaction is going to include information from Gypsy Rose's interview on Dr. Phil. It's also going to include information from the HBO series, Mommy Dead and Dearest, and from the TV show. So here is why I'm doing a reaction video. Because like the story in real life, I don't like how it ended. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, for those who watched the series, she got 10 years in prison, and Nicholas Godejohn, her accomplice, got life without parole. So that's the ending. I'm not happy with it. So let's rewind a little bit. So the TV show and the story basically is that Gypsy Rose Blanchard was a sufferer of severe Munchausen by proxy, which means that her mother was making her sick for attention and different things they could get. Her mother in Louisiana and Missouri was a known kind of shoplifter, grifter, or whatever, and she would use kind of the sympathy to get free things for her and Gypsy. They received a house from Habitat from Humanity for Humanity. They received multiple trips to Disney. They received multiple funds from people. They received money from people, just not companies, but from actual individuals writing them checks and sending them money, just wanting to show their support. And Gypsy went through multiple surgeries that weren't needed. Anything from entering a feeding tube, her esophagus apparently got wrapped around her throat, which wasn't true. Leukemia, chemotherapy, the whole thing. And she had seen multiple doctors. According to the documentary, she had seen between 2014 and 2016, she had been hospitalized or had a procedure, like almost 100 procedures in that period of time. That's a lot of procedures in a short period of time. And a lot of the doctors started to get hip to it and kind of say things on the reports. It would say information provided by mother, meaning Gypsy was never saying, my stomach hurts, or I have headaches all the time, or I'm not feeling good. It would always be her mom saying, well, she has seizures 16 times in the past week. She's having horrible headaches where we have to close the curtains and this and that, and she can't swallow because of her throat and her esophagus. So that's why she needs a feeding tube. And doctors would just do this. And it's so interesting because, these days, if you tell a doctor your head hurts or that you can't sleep or you need a pain mill or a sleep med, they basically make you jump through hoops for 5 pills. So for her to be able to go to a physician and say all these things, and the doctors go, oh, well, she probably has cancer. Here's chemotherapy. Or she can't swallow. Oh, let's put a feeding tube into her stomach. That's insane to me. So Gypsy was very much abused. She was very much sheltered, and the series walks you through all of this. We see a little bit of how Gypsy came into the world and how her mom went to jail during that time, and Gypsy was taken care of by her grandmother who thought that she knew better than Gypsy's mom, and you see all the background. And then fast forward to the last 2 episodes of the series. And by the way, this is very well acted. It's a greatly acted story. I don't even think that's a phrase or a sentence, whatever. But it was very well acted. And I can't say it was a good story because it's a horrible story, but it was done very well by the director and the production company. So like I said, fast forward to the last 2 episodes. She meets Nicholas Godejohn on an online site, and she asks him. She doesn't really convince him. I feel like she maybe asked him twice, and he said, okay, I will come and kill your mom. And he came, and he killed her mom, and then they went off to Wisconsin. And in the last episode, you find out how the murder actually went down. But in this episode, her mom is in the second to last episode. You said that her mom is dead. And her and Nicholas are now traveling to Wisconsin on the bus. And even before they get on the bus, she starts to see little things that maybe he's not as smart as I need, or he's not the Prince Charming that I wanted. That's more of what it was. She thought she was getting this amazing Prince Charming when she was getting a regular guy who is a special needs adult. He's a special needs adult. And different little things like, him remembering to move money over, and him having enough money to buy her a ticket, or what they eat at home, and how he takes care of his room. He wasn't hiding that he was special needs. I think that she so badly wanted to get away from her mom that she just didn't pay attention to it because she didn't care. As long as I get away from my mom, I'm fine with it. So Here is, again, my reaction. Nicholas Godejohn got life without parole. Gypsy Rose Blanchard got 10 years. The reason why she got 10 years is because they went back and found out that she was severely abused through the Munchausen by proxy, and that she's gone through enough torture, and that 10 years suffice for what she did. No, it doesn't. Do I think Gypsy deserved life in prison? Absolutely not. But do I think that she should have gotten maybe 10 years in prison and 10 years in a psych ward? Yes. Do I believe that Nicholas Godejohn should be in prison for the rest of his life without parole? Absolutely not. Nick should be in a mental facility. Though Gypsy didn't notice it, the way he is portrayed on the show, if you go back and watch interviews, and if you go back to watch the HBO series Mommy Dead and Mommy Dearest, he comes off like a special needs adult. The reason why that I say that, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he was very clear. Yes, a lot of special needs adults are very clear, and they do know right from wrong. The issue is that they can't control impulses. For example, my son has special needs, and sometimes he knows it's wrong for him to yell at his teachers. He does it anyway. He knows it's wrong and that me and his dad will be upset when he comes home with, a bad report from school, but it can't control him from lashing out at people, screaming in the classroom, or like the other kids in his class who just get up and walk around, or another kid who just falls on the floor. They can't control the impulse. Another thing with special needs kids and adults is that they really want to please people. They really want to make people happy. Whether it harms them or not, that's what they want to do. So in Nick's mind, the girl that I love and care about and wants to be with has asked me to kill her mom, and that killing her mom will make her happy. Okay, I'm going to go and do that. That's exactly what he did. The police want me to tell them exactly what happened. I want to make the police happy because I don't want to get in trouble. But if I tell them the truth, I won't be in trouble. So we told them exactly what happened. I think it's crazy to give a special needs adult this type of punishment when they don't have an actual realization of what this means. I don't think when he killed Gypsy's mom, I don't think he really had any forethought about what was going to happen or what actually killing her meant. He was not violent beforehand. He had a run-in with the police, absolutely. The whole thing about him being in the McDonald's for 9 hours masturbating, that's not made up for the show. That's a real thing that he did, which is amazing. Not in a good way, but just, wow, how can you masturbate for 9 hours? Not going to go into that, but, he had never anything violent. He had no issue with Dee Dee Blanchard. They had one incident in the movie theater. The way they portrayed it in the show is different, apparently, how it happened in real life. In the show, she kept trying to get away from him, and they're moving around, and she's like what kind of kid would only want to be around a little kid? That part was true. But in reality, Gypsy's mom got upset because when they were all in the theater, Gypsy was paying more attention to Nick than she was to the movie and to her. And that made Dee Dee's mom uncomfortable. But, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Anyway, so he was really, I feel like, used by Gypsy, and that's not fair. He was used by her in every sense of the word. Like, it's like, you have a dog and you tell your dog to sick someone, your dog bites them, mauls them, and then everybody is now blaming the dog on doing what it was told. To me, it's the same situation. I feel like the TV show Making a Murderer needs to now do a story about Nicholas Godejohn, about how he was failed by the state. And I know the state probably feels like, oh, well, he didn't get the death penalty, so he should be happy. No, I feel like with a proper, psychologist, therapy, medication, he could probably return to society in maybe 20 years or something, under supervised whatever, parole for, I don't know. He doesn't need to be in prison forever when he was failed by someone who had a stronger mental capacity than he did. Gypsy Rose, yes, was abused. No one is denying that. No one is. But she had her mental faculties enough. She actually said in a Dr. Phil interview that, well, he didn't have to kill my mom. Why didn't he just call the police and try to help me? Okay, if that's the truth, why did you, when you let him in the house and open the door, why didn't you say, let's just call the police? You could have done that. Let's just call the police and tell my mom, or let's just run away together, and when we get to your mom's house, we'll call the police and let them know that I'm fine. I know she said the whole thing about, well, my mom said that I had to give her power of attorney. That's all true. But if she would have gotten to the police station and say, I'm walking, look, I can walk, I'm pretty sure they would have done a deeper dive into what was actually going on. She could have, even if Nick would have came to the door and she didn't want to do that, she could have told that boy to go home, and she didn't. Instead, she showed him which room to go to, which is true. She hid in the bathroom. That is also true. That is not just on the show. I believe she deserved more time. And I also believe that she needs real therapy. This story is very sad on every level possible. You have a child who is being abused by their own mom. She's also being alienated from her father. You have a special needs kid who's getting used by a girl who, I get it, just wanted to have somebody in her corner and just wanted to be loved. So wanting to be loved and have somebody in your corner doesn't mean you're allowed to commit murder. That's not what that means. So that's my opinion. Again, it was very well acted, but the story is really sad and disturbing. So I'm hoping that someone picks up Nick's case, because I'm confused about how this went down. So anyway, that's my opinion. Jump down in my comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like and subscribe to my channel. You can find me on Twitter at Kia Shakur. You can find me on Instagram, and I'm Kia Giovanni. That's a whole nother Kia vibe over there, just in case you're interested. And also, you can catch me on Friday mornings on the Mocha in the Morning show doing, entertainment and lifestyle reviews. So anyway, talk to you guys later. Bye.